Toyota formally pulled the wraps off the new 2024 Land Cruiser today, in a rebirth that was hardly surprising considering the enduring cachet this nameplate enjoys across the world. Now off-road enthusiasts with sights set on backcountry travel will be able to hit the trail on a new Land Cruiser instead of waiting years for the price of a used high-mileage Land Cruiser to fall within reach. It is to be expected that Toyota would not walk away from this iconic vehicle. Instead, the automaker called a timeout and used it to engineer a clean break from the Land Cruiser's increasingly expensive and bloated mall cruiser trajectory. This desirable off-roader has stayed faithful to the original concept, but Toyota made a determined effort to return this off-road SUV to a more mainstream price point. Like the other SUVs on the same platform, the Land Cruiser has a double wishbone front suspension with twin-tube shocks and a live rear axle with multi-link rear suspension with coil springs. There are large, 17-inch disc brakes, front and rear, and a standard rear locking differential. Standard descent control helps regulate speed on hills, and an available multi-terrain monitor uses the cameras to provide a surround view of the vehicle that promises to be quite helpful for navigating around obstacles. A center locking differential and an electronic locking rear differential are also standard to further help the Land Cruiser maximize available grip on slippery or rocky terrain. The Land Cruiser and First Edition also get a disconnecting front stabilizer bar to allow for more off-road articulation. The Land Cruiser's ground clearance, 8.7 inches, and approach and departure angles, which measure the angles between the ground and the front and rear edges of the vehicle, are appropriate for an off-road oriented SUV. Every version of the current Toyota 4Runner is well equipped to tackle the back roads and trails, though certain models have more off-roading features than others. The base suspension for the vehicle pairs coil spring independent double wishbone front suspension with a stabilizer bar and a coil spring 4-link setup with lateral rod rear suspension and a stabilizer bar. XREAS rear sport suspension is available, as are Fox high-performance shocks. Available crawl control automatically modulates your throttle and brakes so that you can keep your focus on the bumpy road, or, perhaps, ground ahead. You can also purchase models with an electronic locking rear differential, skid plates, kinetic dynamic suspension, and more. Our team believes that the 2024 Toyota 4Runner will be available with a similar lineup of impressive off-roading features. There is significant speculation in the automotive industry that the new Toyota 4Runner will have a hybrid engine option. The Toyota brand has bet heavily on hybrid vehicles, so it would make sense for the company to introduce a hybrid model of its popular off-roading SUV. The 2.4-liter hybrid powertrain currently found on the Toyota Crown makes 340 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. This configuration could be available on the 2024 Toyota 4Runner as an upgrade. We expect a hypothetical 2024 Toyota 4Runner hybrid MPG rating to be extremely competitive, pushing up into the 30 miles per gallon range on the highway. Only time will tell how efficient the car might be, but a hybrid version of this muscular SUV could help you save a bundle at the pump. The Sequoia comes standard with the iForce Max hybrid powertrain that's optional in the Tundra pickup. This powertrain is comprised of a twin-turbo 3.4-liter V6 engine and an electric motor that produce a total of 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. The Tundra's 10-speed automatic transmission carries over to the Sequoia SUV as well. Rear-wheel drive is standard, with four-wheel drive optional on most versions and standard on the off-road-oriented TRD Pro model. The four-wheel drive Sequoia Capstone we tested accelerated to 60 miles per hour in 5.6 seconds and reached a quarter mile in 14.3 seconds at 94 miles per hour. That's quicker than the last GMC Yukon Denali we tested, but somewhat slower than the Ford Expedition Timberline. different powertrains are offered in the Grand Highlander, including 2 shared with the regular Highlander model. The standard setup is a 265 horsepower turbocharged 2.4-liter 4-cylinder with either front or all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic transmission. The Grand Highlander Hybrid uses the same hybrid powertrain as the Highlander Hybrid, which combines a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder and 2 electric motors to make a combined 243 horsepower. The top spec offering will include the Hybrid Max powertrain that pairs the turbocharged 2.4-liter with an electric motor for a net 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. In our testing, the non-hybrid Grand Highlander hit 60 miles per hour in 7.0 seconds, but the Hybrid Max proved much quicker, completing the same test in 5.6 seconds. Both powertrains make the Grand Highlander a quicker mountain to move than the V6-powered Honda Pilot. While the Grand Highlander won't raise a driver's pulse on a twisty road, it does serve its purpose well, and other than a steering wheel with a 2-light feel, it's nicely set up for errand running, kid toting, and road tripping.